Long ago, in Garðaríki, there was a king named Svafrlami, son of Sigalami, who came across a great stag in the woods, which he hunted deep into the wild, until he found himself lost in a strange place. He came across a great stone with two dwarves beside it, and he drew his weapon against them, threatening these creatures and denying them entry into the boulder which was their home. The dwarves fell to their knees and begged, "We are two humble dwarves named Durin and Dvalinn, who have done you no wrong. Please spare our lives, O noble king, and let us return to our halls of soil and stone." Svafrlami had heard the names of these dwarves before, as they were famed as the most skilled craftsmen among their people. So he bargained with them. "I will spare your lives for suitable payments. I have no need of coin or gemstone, but I command you to craft me a sword, the best ever made. It will have a golden hilt and scabbard. The blade will never rust, and it must shine like the sun above. It will bite and tear through iron and stone as if they were silk. And most importantly, it must bring victory to the one who wields it in battle. Do you agree to my terms, or shall I end your miserable lives here and now?" The dwarves of course agreed, though they were angered and humiliated to craft a fine weapon for such a wicked and arrogant man. So they worked their forge together and crafted a blade with all the features Svafrlami had demanded, but they added a few extra qualities of their own to it. You see, the sword was cursed by the magic of the dwarves. They handed Svafrlami his gift, and whilst he admired its shining beauty, Durin and Dvalinn spoke their curse. "This sword has many enchantments upon it. It can never be drawn from its sheath without then causing the death of a man, and it must always be sheathed with warm human blood upon it. No living thing, man or beast, can survive any wound inflicted by the blade's edge, great or small, and its owner will always find victory, so long as blows are struck by its blade. But it will be the cause of 3 of the most hateful deeds to ever be done in this world, and it will be the cause of your own death, Svafrlami. Consider yourself truly and utterly cursed." Svafrlami was outraged, but the dwarves gleefully leapt away into their home of rock and earth, where Svafrlami could not follow or harm them. Svafrlami named the sword Tyrfing, and he knew it would soon become famous across the world for the glorious victories it would bring. But he did not comprehend the saga of destruction, sorrow, and despair the blade was destined to enact. This is not the saga of a great king or Viking hero. This is the saga of Tyrfing, the cursed sword. Svafrlami enjoyed the sword for a while and used it to win great victories against his enemies. But destiny soon brought Arngrim, the berserker, to Svafrlami's kingdom, who raided the shores and ransacked the land. Svafrlami faced Arngrim in single combat, safe in the knowledge that Tyrfing would slice through any shield or armour the Viking possessed. The arrogant fool. Svafrlami swung the cursed sword downwards, with little thought put into the action, though he did slice his enemy's shield into pieces. However, he completely missed Arngrim's body, and the sword continued its downward strike, slicing into the solid rock beneath them, becoming trapped in the earth. He did not have enough time to realise what a fool he had been, for Arngrim deftly and delicately sliced off Svafrlami's hand before he grabbed Tyrfing's hilt himself. With his mighty berserker strength, he ripped the cursed blade out of the rock and admired its beauty, while Svafrlami lay on the cold stone, clutching the bloody stump where his hand had once been. Arngrim had intended to ransom the king for a hefty price, but now, with the sword in his grasp, he felt an uncontrollable urge to utterly destroy Svafrlami. He quickly thrust the blade through the wretched, bloodied king, fulfilling the first part of the sword's dark destiny. Arngrim seized all the wealth he could in the land and kept the sword for himself. He married Oyfura, the daughter of Svafrlami, and together they had 12 sons who all grew to be berserkers like their father. The greatest of these 12 brothers was Angantyr, who inherited the sword from his father, though all 12 of the brothers grew to become great and powerful men, winning fame for their victories and prowess in battle wherever they sailed to. Their reputation meant that whenever they made a demand of a foreign king, they were always granted whatever they desired, no matter how ridiculous. That is, until one of the brothers demanded that Ingjald, king of the Swedes, relinquish his own beautiful daughter so that the berserker might marry her. The king would perhaps have agreed, had his daughter not violently protested that she had already chosen a husband, Hjalmar the Great-Hearted, a noble and virtuous man, the greatest and most beloved champion of the Swedes. The brothers therefore demanded that Hjalmar face them in battle over this great matter, challenging him to meet them on the island of Samsoy. Hjalmar agreed, and all the fighters prepared to leave for the island. But before Angantyr the berserker left his home and wife, he had a dream. He said, "I dreamt that 12 brothers slew many birds, but then 2 eagles came. One killed my brothers, whilst I struggled with the other until we both fell." His father-in-law told him, "This dream foretells the doom of many great men. I doubt we shall meet again." The 12 brothers arrived at Samsoy, where they saw 2 Viking longships on the shore, which clearly belonged to their enemy, and they decided to strike their foe hard and fast. The brothers summoned their berserker fury, which gave them the power and skill to win any battle, whilst Angantyr drew the sword Tyrfing, which instantly craved human blood. The battle was bloody and horrific, as the berserkers tore the crews of the 2 Viking ships limb from limb, spilling their guts upon the stony shore. But Hjalmar the Great-Hearted was not among them, as he was scouting the island ahead of his crew. He returned with his friend, the legendary hero Arawad, and they saw the 12 brothers. The brothers' berserker rage had completely subsided. They were now exhausted from their battle against the Viking crews, whilst Tyrfing was safely in its scabbard. Arawad easily slew 11 of the exhausted brothers, whilst Hjalmar faced Angantyr, who clumsily drew forth the sword Tyrfing. But even the bravest cannot fight beyond their strength, so Hjalmar quickly and easily struck a killing blow against Angantyr. With his last ounce of life, Angantyr scratched Hjalmar with the edge of Tyrfing, causing a small wound, which Hjalmar laughed at to begin with. But the curse of the blade could not be undone, even when its master lay slaughtered on the floor, and this tiny cut from the cursed sword was the death of noble Hjalmar. This beloved hero's life had been cruelly snatched away from a trivial scratch, and a wave of grief and anguish washed over the land of the Swedes, leaving a stain of misery that lasted a generation. Hjalmar's companion Arawad looked on in dismay at the bloodshed that day. 2 ships' crews and 12 berserkers in bloody pieces, whilst his friend's noble life was ruined by the touch of an evil blade. He resolved to bury the fallen, laying the 12 brothers and their belongings to rest in a tall, foreboding burial mound, with the cursed sword Tyrfing placed on the lap of Angantyur's mangled corpse. Trapped beneath the earth, far from the light of sun or moon, and out of reach of ambitious men's hands, surely the blade would cause no more harm. But this was just the beginning of the cursed sword's story, for its wicked destiny was not yet complete. The 12 brothers struggled to find rest in their tomb, and Tyrfing lay patiently amongst dirt, darkness, and shuffling dead things beneath the earth, whilst fate chose the next owner of the blade.